Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, there are some people that face financial challenges resulting in them not being able to pay their house payments. It's a pretty scary thing for people. What are some things that a home seller can do if they're facing financial hardships?
Well, Richard, it can be challenging because I've talked to a lot of people that have been through this, and once somebody gets behind on the payments, the solutions from the lenders aren't really that great. What they do is they'll say, "Okay, fine, we'll just take the missed payments, and maybe divide them up into 3 months and add them to your current payments, and you'll just go up in payment. How's that sound?" And it doesn't work. So a lot of times their solutions are not great. And as it gets worse, as it gets worse and they get further behind, then the lenders actually don't let you pay anymore unless you bring it fully current. So that's another dilemma. The one thing that did change as a result of the Dodd-Frank law back in 2011, whenever it was, is now they are supposed to help the borrower trouble. Like they're supposed to first offer them some kind of solution. I had a couple people that are kind of getting stuck with during COVID, they said, okay, you don't have to make payments. And now it's time to start making payments again. And they're increasing their payment because the payments are missed. And they're like, well, wait a minute. I thought you were going to put the missed payments on the back of the loan. And it just didn't go the way it should have gone for some people. The other people that are running into trouble are veterans, and this breaks my heart. Some of the veterans that bought homes during the boom between 2019 essentially and 2022, especially if they competed with other buyers, they had to pay over asking price. And so they were in bidding wars, so they really paid more than it was actually worth to get the homes. They got 100% financing, and here we are a couple years later, and the prices haven't come up enough to give them the net proceeds to pay off their loan, and they don't have the cash to make up the difference. So I've had a few sellers that did have the cash and actually just sold it, and had to bring money to closing, which I don't like seeing that, but you know, it does happen sometimes if the borrower has to move. I had one guy, he went out and put a solar system on top of his house. Well, when you sell the house, any liens like that have to be paid. So it was like a $35,000 solar system that would have had to have been paid off along with his 100% mortgage. And he just didn't have the equity. So he just handed over the title to the lender and it foreclosed. Well, that will follow you for a while, probably a good 7 to 10 years. You won't be able to buy a house again. The lenders say 4, but I think it's longer than that. They have to quit reporting to credit after 7 years. But if you just fall behind on your payments and then you're able to sell the home, bring it current and sell the home, that's probably the best solution because within a year or two, your credit score is going to come right back up and that will be history, water under the bridge. So it's kind of difficult for a lot of people. It's very embarrassing for a lot of people. The foreclosure rates have actually come up by about 5% since the boom. And the people that are getting stuck, unfortunately, are the veterans that had to pay 100% financing and compete with other buyers just to get into the home. There are a certain group of people, especially in the military, that have to move around every couple of years. So if they're forced to move, the choices are they rent it out for a monthly loss or, they, have to sell it. So, and you can't refinance because your credit's been destroyed. The loan modifications could work, but not necessarily always. But I will tell you that if you're behind on your payments and you're sitting on one of those low interest rate mortgages, there are buyers out there that would love to assume that loan, especially a VA loan, and step into your shoes and take over the payments. There's plenty of those options. We have lots of options for people that are facing foreclosure. But unfortunately, a lot of people tend to kind of stick their head in the sand, hope that their workout with the lender is going to solve the problem. They wait until the very last minute. They're at the brink of foreclosure before they do anything. And then it's tough. Like I had somebody call me a few weeks ago and they were a week away from foreclosure. I'm like, oh my God, that is hard to do, to get a buyer that could pull that off. And it can be done, but it's really a lot more difficult if you have less than 2 to 3 weeks to solve the problem. So we help people with this all the time. I actually have 6 properties right now. So one of my clients is I help the asset management company that handles all of the VA repos in the country. And so they give me assignments here and there. And I've got 6 of them right now of properties where the buyer just walked away and left it vacant. And we're trying to work through all the problems with the properties and get it sold to a new buyer. But I really don't feel like anybody needs to do that this day and age, especially with the marketing that we do. So give us a chance, because we've got cash buyers that'll buy your home. We've got live in the home buyers that will buy your home. We've got plenty of solutions to solve the problem. So you don't have to bring money to the closing table, and you don't have to have a foreclosure on your record for 7 to 10 years. All you need to do is give us a call at 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com, and we'll sit down and we'll try to help you with the issue and try to give you a solution. Some people may not want to stay in the home, and that's fine. We can help them with that for sure. Some people do want to stay in the home, and we can give them some ideas of what might help them. But one thing that I think these borrowers need to understand is that by law, the lenders can't start the foreclosure process for 5 months. Until they can't even start of 5 months being behind. And then once they start, it's 5 months for the whole foreclosure process as a minimum. It could be longer. So you've got time. Nobody's going to come knocking on your door. Nobody knows that you're behind. Just be honest and upfront with me so I can help you. And generally in a normal market, it takes 1 to 2 months to sell a home. But if you need a cash buyer, sometimes we can get those done in just a few weeks. So don't worry too much about us. Just give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. We can find the resources to help you. And I wouldn't worry too much about your credit. If you've missed a few payments, it could be a year before you could buy another house. If you foreclose, it could be 7 years. So we can help you to solve the problem, so you can move on to your next property, move on to the next phase in your life. A lot of people are sitting on a bunch of equity and they get into trouble. We could solve that problem really quick. So just give us a call. I could put any address in the country into my system, and I could spit out at least a half dozen or more offers on your home. Many of these offers are cash and they can close in 2 weeks. So don't let it go to that just because you're having a financial hardship, because a lot of times you might be sitting on equity where you can get paid in 2 weeks and be able to maybe stay a few days after closing and move on to whatever you're going to do next. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about people facing a financial hardship and how you can avoid foreclosure. And then when we come back, we're going to touch on a few things what you should do in that situation. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you're thinking of selling or buying, call Barb, 719-301-3900. And Barb, we're talking about the people who are having trouble making those house payments and the options they have. What are some other things that people who are having trouble with their mortgage should think about?
Well, first of all, communicate with your lender. It's very natural for people in these situations to be very private about it, and they don't talk to anybody. They won't answer the door. They go silent. Then they're facing foreclosure, and then they're getting people knocking on their door, and they're getting all these mailers and all this stuff, and it's very confusing. So don't go silent. ask for help, communicate with your lender. Last year there was actually a moratorium on foreclosures for veterans who were living in the homes. So they didn't even start the process for people that were not making payments at all last year. The only ones that did foreclose were the ones that had vacated the home, which those lenders will go around and check the property and see if it's occupied or not. Because a lot of times, sometimes the lender can have a solution, but if you think, okay, they don't, or you can't afford it, or you want to move on, it's okay. We can help you do that. The way you can check if you really are, because what happens is the lenders will send these notices of foreclosure, which they're not really starting the process. They're just making it look scary. So I would go to El Paso County or whatever county, publictrustee.com to check first. Those websites are pretty good at being up to date, and you'll be able to just put in your street name and find out if your address actually did start the process. And if that's the case, the clock is ticking, typically 120 days. I would make a move to get it sold or find another solution as soon as possible. The worst case scenario is to file bankruptcy. I don't think it's necessary to file bankruptcy if you're facing foreclosure. That's a little much, but it can stop the process for sure. And then they won't talk to anybody, right? Then they're like, we can't talk. We have to deal with an attorney and go on from there. But the best option, of course, is to sell the home, the loan gets paid off, and you move on. And a lot of times we can put quite a bit of money into your pocket. The other option is maybe talk about a loan modification. So there's all kinds of solutions that are out there. I have one client that's doing a short sale. They're asking the seller to take less than what they owe. I've written a book about this. I'm an expert on it. So if that's something you want to do, we can do that too. Just give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
So, Barb, this is your favorite part of the program, the listeners and mine as well. Hot new listings. Tell us about them.
Well, I've got some really cute ones. I've got this great cabin up in Divide on Friar Tuck, priced under 400,000 on an acre and a half. It's really in great shape. New windows, newer roof, a generator, updated furnace, and it's just so cute. I have a beautiful home on Barn Owl. This is in Fountain, Colorado. This home also has been completely remodeled, 4-bedroom, 4-bath. And that's priced in the low fours. I've got a great home on Almagre Peak, really close to the Air Force Academy, in the low sixes. Beautiful home, 4-bedroom as well. A spectacular home up in Perry Park in Larkspur on Winged Foot. Gorgeous home with spectacular views from every single window of this house, priced at $1.25 million. A great home in Briargate on Camfield Drive, a stunning home in Sunbird Hills, priced at $1,599,000 with a 5-car garage. So you can actually have 2 different families live in this home without any problem. Stunning views. And you know what? Right now, I've got 4 properties that I have the agreement on that are offered as only in by invitation only investor special. So if you're interested in getting rich in real estate and you want to find out on how to invest in real estate, we give our buyers insider access to homes that you cannot find on Zillow. And I, for a fact, have 4 of them right now that represent great buys. And the seller wants to sell. And these are either income properties or great flip properties. So if you're an investor and you're thinking about it, give me a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. It airs every Saturday, 11 to noon, right after Cudlow. And if you're thinking of making a move, call Barb, 719-301-3900. Or as always, you can just visit barbhasthebuyers.com. And remember, you can see replays of the show on Barb's YouTube channel, Barb Schlinker, or listen to the podcast on all of the platforms like Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, many, many others. Thanks for listening. Reach out to Barb. Again, that number is 719-301-3900. Thanks for listening, Barb. Have a great week.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.